Good afternoon, and welcome back to another edition of Your Turn with Cliff Woodards. This time, your turn is really with me. I'm back in the studio live on the air. It's Saturday, April 7th. The temperatures are still slightly below normal, but it's a lot warmer than it has been in the last 10 days or so. We're glad for that. It's bright and sunny outside, so if you haven't gotten out, you might want to do so this afternoon but make sure you stick around and watch the program until after 2 o'clock before you leave. Glad to be here with you. A lot of things going on in and around Detroit today. A lot of people I know have gotten up and gone to the Eastern Market already. I decided to be just a little bit casual today. Actually, I was in too much of a hurry to get here. I lollygagged a little bit and waited too late to properly find my normal business attire, so I hope you forgive this sweatshirt that I'm wearing. Today's show, actually, I'm going to dedicate it to my good friend Annalisa Carzone. She sent me a message last week talking about, I'm tired of the reruns. So those of you who are watching, I appreciate each and every one of you out there. As I said, I'm live in the studio back with you on today, Saturday, April 7th. I want you to be able to call in, voice your opinions about the topics that I'm going to throw out for discussion today. I promise that they will be interesting and something that you will want to cast your opinion and let me know how you feel as well. Of course, the call-in numbers are across the bottom of the screen there, 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. I also want to thank the Angels for filling in for me week before last. You want to make sure that you catch their TV show on another network on Saturdays at 11 o'clock and give them the support they deserve as well. In fact, I'm going to be seeing Dr. Michelle Lino a little bit later on this afternoon. There is a function at the Charles Wright Museum that I have the pleasure and honor to be the MC for. It's about mental health and music, and it promises to be a very educational and informative 3 hours. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then later on this evening, it is time for the Barristers Ball down at the Renaissance Center. So that's where a lot of us are going to be this evening, folks. I'm sure, except for me, because I'm here with you, are spending this afternoon getting all gussied up. The women are sitting in some hair salon, men are in the barbershops, the nail salons are booked as well for manis and petties. The Barristers Ball is the largest black party every year in the city of Detroit. Some people call it the Lawyers' Prom. But it is always a good time to get together and see friends and colleagues, some of whom you haven't seen for quite a while. But nevertheless, moving on with the program this afternoon, there were a couple of topics that I thought about since I haven't been here in the last couple of weeks that are still in the news. But I wanted to talk to you about the killings, the shootings in our community nationwide, and I want to tie them all together and even throw in a retrospective of the past 50 years since Martin Luther King was assassinated, which we just memorialized this past, what was that, Wednesday? The 4th, whatever Wednesday was. I'm not remembering that right now. But nevertheless, it was on April 4th, 1968 that he was assassinated 50 years ago. But we look back and we see the two police shootings. If we remember Stephon Clark, who was shot in California, and then 2 weeks later, a young man, in fact, let me get his name again. I wrote it down, and I just forgot it that quick. Saheed Vassell was an unarmed man who was shot in New York just this past week. And he was holding a metal pipe. People in his family and his neighborhood knew that he had suffered from mental illness, but the police put 10 bullets in him because they mistook the metal pipe for a weapon. There's video. You can see him, in essence, kind of lunging back or towards the officers with this metal pipe. What does this say in our community about the way police officers view black men? Now, Stephon Clark was shot at night after he had been running away from the police, but Mr. Vassell was shot in broad daylight. The state attorney general in New York has opened an investigation into the shooting. There's some legislation somewhere in the country, I can't remember that right now, but I read earlier in the week where a state legislator is trying to pass a law that makes shooting the last resort rather than the first resort. Then you combine that with the incident at Parkland School down in Florida, and there are a lot of black kids, as well as Black Lives Matter, who are upset because they seem to be left out of the conversation. And they are lamenting how white children across the country have organized, have gathered marches. They've marched on Washington. They've marched across several cities recently on a Saturday to express their views of how tired they are of guns and violence in the cities across this country. And certain people are asking why black people are not included in that, or why our marches that have come at the hands of Black Lives Matter have not been received with the same welcome open arms by politicians as well as even in members of the media. What do you think about that? 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. We're live in the studio today. It is just about 1:10 on Saturday, April 7th, so give me a call and let me know what your thoughts are about that. I'm also particularly interested in, and I tend to always look at these issues with, colloquially, what people would say a twist. How are we responsible at all? There has been talk for years, actually, as we look back all the way back to Trayvon Martin, Tamir Rice, Alton Sterling, Eric Garner, the list is long, about how we are perceived in the eyes of law enforcement and white America in general. Are we responsible for our own perception? Do you think it's possible that the way that we are viewed by white America could in fact be some measure of our own responsibility? Here's why I said that. There's a video out that just came out about a week and a half ago by rap artist 2 Chainz, and the song is called Proud. This song is, in essence, a celebration of mothers and motherhood. And he is rapping and or singing, depending upon your belief, about how proud he is of his mother. You really need to see that video. I was appalled. I really wanted to play it here. I just didn't come today with the right technical equipment to do so. But nevertheless, if you get an opportunity, go to YouTube and search for Proud and then 2 Chainz. Watch the video. I was astounded that he could even find middle-aged mothers who were wearing what I would call hood gear, complete with gold chains and the gangster look, to perform in this video, to stand there. Now, in the video, I've isolated some of the lyrics, and just imagine, if you will, what the images you see in your head when you hear these words. TRU University, I pull it up and murk a beat. Mama house was filled up with bags of Hercules. That's lean. Basically an illegal drug. Soon as I finished pissing, I put the seat down or my mama'd be cussing my damn ass out. Only child, no siblings, no besties. I couldn't do nothing right like a lefty. Bought my mama's first house with the jug money. Bought my mama's second house with the club money. Me and mama used to trap out the same house. Used to eat and go to sleep on the same couch. Me and mama got busted at the same time. Went to court and told the judge the same damn lies. When you have images of middle-aged black women standing there, and 2 Chainz and some of his road dogs, crew, partners, whatever you want to call them, are rapping to this song, singing those lyrics, and glorifying not only illegal drug activity, but bragging about the part that their mother taught them that role and celebrating that lifestyle. Is it any wonder why a lot of white America views black America the way they do? Could we be responsible for our own problems? Even if there are certain women who are out there involved in gang activity like that, selling drugs, running trap houses, is this something that we should be, to use 2 Chainz' word, proud of? And then when we go interact with white America, they see us in that light. And in essence, we wind up in the position that we do. Just a couple of days ago, there were tweets from Stephon Clark that surfaced that he posted back in 2015 where he was demeaning all things related to black America. He called black women all black bitches. 313-868-0342, 868-0351, and 868-4336 if you'd like to give us a call. Let me know what's on your mind. We've got the first caller. Go ahead. Good afternoon. You're on the air. It's your turn with Cliff Woodwards.
How you doing, Cliff?
I'm good. How are you?
Even though what you just pointed out, my thing is, back in the 1930s and the 1940s, when we didn't have all this black-on-black crime, and we know a lot of things our people do they shouldn't do now, white folks are still giving us to run around and doing what they're doing. That ain't no excuse. You know, a lot of people, my sister said it all the time. Well, look how we do this here. And I tell her, I said, when you was a baby born in 1943, look how they treated black folks then. So, sure, I don't put no excuse on what we're doing now and the change and the younger generation do that. Don't use that for an excuse because all black folks don't do that. We all don't do that.
Oh, I get you. I fully believe, and I agree with you. Not all black people act that way. In fact, I would say most black people don't act that way. But when you then create those images, and those images are seen much more than the regular black guy that gets up to go to work as a DTE lineman, the regular black guy that is part of the electrical workers of a union, the regular black woman that goes to work at her job, wherever it may be. Those images aren't broadcast over and over again. These are the images, because we go back and we think about who is the biggest consumer of rap music. White people. So what is black America showing white America more than anything else?
I was looking the other day. You're 100% right. Let me say this real quick. I was there, and I got kind of pissed about it. They was celebrating well, I wouldn't say celebrating, but they was talking about King 50, the assassination 50 years ago. Then I cut it on the channel, and they were showing how blacks couldn't stay in this part of Chicago. How, our peoples, maybe some of the young people need to look at some of these programs that I've been watching so they can realize what the struggle that our peoples had in the last 90 years. Maybe that'll change some of their attitude. Because black folks had been through some changes in this country now. That's why a lot of time, and like I said again, I don't go along with the way a lot of us act. But no excuses for that. But our folks have been through something, man. And sometimes it takes a while for some people, especially if they ain't raised right.
I think the problem is we've forgotten, and I'm not sure if we could even interest most of our young people in remembering our heritage. We're unlike Jews and any other ethnic culture who, in essence, remember the African griots? where the griots would tell their history because they remembered it, and they would teach it to the next generation, and then the next generation would learn it, and none of that stuff was really written down, but it was taught verbally to the successor generations. That still, in essence, goes on in other ethnicities around the world. But there is a disconnect that was imposed on us, and I'm not saying it's our fault at all. It was imposed on us during slavery times to where now we are completely disconnected less than 3 generations is, and that's how far back most of us can go. So
Right.
trying to get this generation to remember the sacrifices that their great great grandparents made is almost next to impossible, I'd argue. Listen, thank you so much. I've got another call. I appreciate you calling in, my friend.
I appreciate you.
All
Thank
right, have a good one. Good afternoon. You're on the air. It's your turn with Cliff Woodards.
Hey, Brother Woodward, you hit the nail on the head when you said, when you referenced to culture.
Mm.
You know, I'm a guy that like to read about our own history. And in doing so, man, I come to find out that the original people here in the Americas, when I say the Americas, I'm talking about North, Central, and South. You know, no one's arguing that fact anymore because they know it to be true. And what happened here is that, this is just my opinion now. What happened here is that they took you out of your culture. What I'm trying to say is the things that you see black people doing here in America, they had already been here for 57,000 years. In other words, all this killing and carrying on, all the drugs, none of this stuff would have been going on had they never came here. You can't go somewhere and change the culture, and inside that culture, there's a lot of murder and dope, and then you blame the people who you are oppressed and came there to oppress. And you say to them people, it's your own fault. It's not your own fault. Brothers really weren't into war that tough, man. They were peace-loving people. They traded all over the world. And all new information that they was getting, they spread it all over the world. In other words, what was going on in Africa was going on in the Caribbean and in the Americas with the same black people. This is not our life. In a sense, we are kind of depressed people, meaning you would have never came to this. And I know it sounds like I'm making excuses for the brother, but you got to admit, if you live in a life of 57,000 years in America, and none of these things that's going on in America existed back then, and then all of a sudden someone come and change the whole makeup of things, how is it possible that you blame those people for the condition that they're in now? We're steady being oppressed every single day. There's not a day that goes by where we're not oppressed in some shape, form, or fashion, and on some level. This guy, our new governor, he had to come in and destroy the city of Detroit. We were looking too good on the world front. We had a school system that had a hell of a surplus, you understand? He had to come in and tear that up. Now others try to come in and say, well, it's your own fault. You elected the city council, and we did not, you know that every last one of them people was appointed, and they were shooed in there. We didn't vote for these people. And I hate to hear people blame us, blame black people for their demise in the city of Detroit. We didn't create the housing boom. They overlet people money. They took them out of a fixed-rate mortgage with an escrow account and put them into a variable-rate mortgage, and they couldn't afford to meet those notes.
Wait a minute. Wait. Hold on, because this is an interesting topic right here, and I'll probably deviate from this because I heard it a lot during that period of time back in 2009, 2010, when the market was in the toilet, the real estate market was being foreclosed on left and right, and that was the thing that phrase predatory lending was the phrase that was thrown around between 2008 and 2010. And it's almost like when I heard it, to me it was like, okay, are lenders purposely going to see you, and I'm not sure what your last name is, I'll say Mr. Jones, did Bank of America or Chase or fifth, third, did they come to you, Mr. Jones, and say, look, take this $300,000 and go buy you a house, and have a gun to your head and say, we got this money for you. Here, take this money, go buy you a house, or else we're going to kill your family? And the problem with that is, no, they didn't. And I've never really subscribed to that theory of predatory lending, because people want what they want, and I think that has nothing to do with race. Back then, they were allowing people to sign no-doc mortgages. I was one of them, because I was self-employed. So it's a little, it's a little difficult when you buy or build a house and you don't have.
You took the equity loan?
Say that again.
Are you saying that you took the equity loan, or you refinanced?
No, they gave me enough money to go build a house. All I did was sign my name and provide an income statement that I could create, because I'm a self-employed attorney. So I don't have a W-2 coming in. But the question that I had, or the problem that I had with that was, okay, so black folk wound up in mortgages that they couldn't afford. But who was the first person to know that they couldn't afford that mortgage? The black person himself. The black people knew good and blankety blank well that if that mortgage was $2,000 a month and they only brought home $1,500, they knew that they couldn't afford that mortgage. Or even if and that's just an extreme example, but say for instance the mortgage was $900 a month and they only brought home $1,500. Any mortgage appraiser will tell you that your mortgage shouldn't exceed 30% of what your salary is. So I just refuse to believe that black people were suckered into those mortgages, because.
You know what happened, though, bro?
Say that again.
I said, you know what really happened right there with that housing boom thing? Now, you just think about this for a second.
Mm-hmm.
How many black people do you know who could have got their hands on $30,000, $40,000, or $50,000 just by signing with an ink pen? These people have never, ever, I'm not making excuses now. I'm actually saying what happened. These people have never had access to that lump sum of money before in their entire lives. I mean, they may have had that much equity in their home, but they never had availability to access it, to have that money actually in their hand. And it didn't make sense to do it. I would have never done it, but that desire, I mean, the temptation that was out there, and a lot of them went and grabbed it. And they was getting $20,000, $30,000, and $40,000. They was taking most of it, not all the equity they had in the home. And then the lenders, they were actually lending you over 100% of the value. From what I understand, they was lending you 125% of the value. Mm-hmm. So here you have an opportunity, give people access to grab 20, 30, or 40. This is something they never did, man, and all of them jumped at it, man. I guess they actually knew that would happen.
Oh, and I understand.
You know what I'm saying?
And something else, too, is that not only were black people, if I'll use your word, victims, there were black folk who were acting in concert with the mortgage lenders themselves. If you remember, you know how all of a sudden now every black person is doing taxes? Every stripper between December and April stopped stripping, and all of a sudden she's a CPA. But black people, every tax season, I do taxes now. Back then, in 2005, 6, and 7, almost every black person you knew had a hustle going on. I do mortgages. These people ain't never been to real estate school to had any idea of how to actually assess a mortgage, but all of a sudden, they're doing mortgages. And so black folk were writing mortgages and didn't even know what a mortgage contract was back then. And they were rounding up their friends, like you said, here's $50,000. You can pull this money out of your home equity. This home equity loan is only 3%. Take this, not telling them about an adjustable rate mortgage.
Right.
But again, whose fault is this? There's this old Roman phrase, caveat emptor, let the buyer beware.
It's the homeowner's fault, man. But people were totally ignorant of that. When you keep in mind that when this thing first started out, you didn't have that type of access. Everybody who I know, I'm 64 years old, and I bought a house, and I was in my mid-20s. Everybody knew about the escrow account.
Right.
My escrow account, that means that your insurance was paid, your property taxes was paid, and the mortgage was paid. It was one note. When you take somebody out of that and put them in a variable rate, he's responsible on the outside for the insurance and the property tax, and that's not no chump change. You look at it, $4,000 or $5,000 just for those two things right there.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? And they wasn't able to do that on the side. At the same time, pay that mortgage, and their variable rate means just that. They're going up. And
exactly.
They can afford it. But here, they're being exposed to something they've never been exposed before. And a lot of them, man, just fell for it. That's what happened.
You're right. Well, listen, you done lit up the phone lines, my friend. I appreciate that. Let me get to some more calls, all right?
All right.
Okay, have a great afternoon. Good afternoon to you. It's your turn with Cliff Woodwards. You're live on the air. Caller, go ahead. Caller. I hear myself echoing in your TV. You want to turn it down, and you're on. I'll give you another 5 seconds before I got to go to the next call that's holding. All right, call back. Good afternoon. You're on the air. It's your turn with Cliff Woodwards.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Woodward. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. I want to piggyback on your last caller.
Sure.
And then I want to piggyback on something that you said. You were saying in 2005, I want to go back, and I'm going to go back to 1997. I received a thing from Loan Giant saying that I can take $50,000 out on my home. With you, like you're saying, if you can't afford it, don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I looked at it. Not that I couldn't afford it. And what they were doing at that time, Loan Giant, which I found out, if you owned your home back in the early 90s the early 80s to early 90s when HUD was giving out the homes for little or nothing, they were going trying to find all the people that had bought their homes out through HUD, which that was me.
Mm-hmm.
And they were trying to get us to take money out on our property. And, back then, if just saying, I could, you got an inspection sheet from the city what you had to, fix up on your property. And you couldn't go to the bank and take a loan out on a HUD property back then. You had to fix it up.
Okay.
Now, with that being said, Loan Giant comes through, and they want to, get people to take these, money out on their properties and stuff. And I'm like, you can take vacations. Why would I need $50,000 to go on vacation? Just sometimes we got to use our mind. And I understand what you're saying. We, as Black people, we better start thinking things out, making sure that all the I's is dotted and all your T's are crossed, because we're in a world that we just can't beat it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just saying, I understand what the young man was saying about the schools and all that, but what they got to do with people not knowing what to do when it comes down to properties, because I've been down to Wayne Community College with girlfriends trying to help them save their homes, and they was just, selling the mortgage to another place, and like you said, they knew they couldn't afford their mortgage when they went and got it. And again, like you said, those friends, same thing, did them the same way, got them to sign those mortgages, knowing they could not afford them, and then guess what? They lost their homes, and now they're just, renting, apartments, trying to, and then complain about what the landlord ain't doing. Well, you had your house. You had no business taking a mortgage out on your house. And that's all I have to say. I'm going to close out on that. Thank you. You have a wonderful weekend.
All right.
And enjoy the rest of your day with your activities that you will be attending.
Thank you so much, and you have a great weekend as well.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. We've reached the bottom of the hour. You're watching Your Turn with Cliff Woodwards here on Comcast 91. Digital TV 33, and we are across all internet platforms, www.tv33whpr.com, or if you have a mobile device, whether it's a cell phone or a tablet, just go to your app store, download the WHPR Now app to that device. You can take us along with you wherever you go, and if you've got a Roku box, we're also on the Roku platform as well. Not just Your Turn with Cliff Woodwards, but all of the great programming here at WHPR TV. Let's go back to the phone lines once again. Good afternoon. You're on the air. It's Your Turn with Cliff Woodwards.
What's up, bro?
How's it going?
I'm all right. I was calling you. I'm watching your program in regards to these home equity loans and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I truly believe that we as black people have to recognize who the devil is. The devil will try and trick you out of everything that you own. It's been emphasized in the Bible that the Creator will give you what it takes to help you sustain in this world. But when you abuse it, He's going to come and get it back. But however, we have to recognize that in order for us to get up, we have to save up. We can't go out here with tools and fumes and try and get ahead of the system and deviate from the what you call American capitalism.
See, I don't even, let me jump in here for a second, though, and the caller that's calling in, hang on, I'm going to get to you shortly. I want everybody to have their full say, including this gentleman that's on the phone right now. But do I really want to call those folks the devil? And here's why I'm saying that. Would you agree that we live in America, it's a capitalistic society, right?
Yes.
All right, so you run your business. Let's say your business is called ABC Goods, all right? You're selling your products. Now, let's say, for instance, you start out selling your products on your own block, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Everybody on your block has your widget that you bought, that you sold, all right? You sold one to everybody on your block. They bought it. They're happy. Now, if you stayed on that block, your own block, could you make any more money?
Yeah.
No, you couldn't, because everybody's got your product on your block. You've got to go to the next block. You got to go to the street over or the block down, right? Exactly. So what I'm saying is these people, these banks or lending institutions, when they started selling mortgages, they started out with people, let's say you had to have a 750 credit score. Well, they tapped out that market. Everybody who had a 750 credit score already had a mortgage. So they dropped their requirements down to 700. So now they got a whole new set of people they can sell mortgages to. So then they dropped it down to 650. Now, all that company is doing, really, is trying to make extra money. Isn't it upon me and you to say, okay, just because you loosened your standards for who you're going to approve a mortgage for, does that suddenly mean that I can afford that mortgage?
Well, see, that's what I was telling you. What I was telling you, that we cannot get in the put ourselves in a position to where we're going to take on too many financial burdens, take on too many financial burdens to try and relieve what we deem to relieve ourselves from the oppression of capitalism to get ahead in life. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Because not all black people who go out here and get these houses from the Department of HUD and so forth and buy these houses off the market realize that they have to have these houses inspected first and foremost. And if that house has a leak in the basement or the foundation or shifted or whatever, they're buying off into people's problems. Mm-hmm. This is going to dig them further off in debt to get that fixed.
Right.
So therefore, we have to use our mind by saving to get what we want in order to achieve our goals in life.
Right. You're going back old school. I agree with you. That's what we used to do.
Okay? We can't just save up $50,000 to $60,000 and say, well, I'm going to get me a house with this.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you go take that $50,000 to $60,000 and invest into a house, you're buying somebody else's problems. And 9 times out of 10, I guarantee you that you will be further off in debt than that $50,000 to $60,000.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing your views this evening. We appreciate it.
All right.
Have a great afternoon. Good afternoon. It's your turn with Cliff Woodward. You're on the air.
Happy Saturday.
How are you? Happy Saturday to you, too.
All right. I just signed in, so I don't know the whole story of what you guys are talking about. But I did hear enough to know that it is nonsense for anybody to take on more debt than they can handle. That's just like debt suicide. You know, you can't handle the bills if you're not handling what you have. You turn around and let somebody slick you into something saying, oh, it's going to be less, but at the end game it's going to be a trick in it where it's going to cost you more money. So you do have to do your research when you get ready to deal with finances and debt and buying homes, property, and the list goes on. But where I have a problem is when they have so-called funding that's supposed to help those who are hardship and that they're falling behind. And now, Cliff, they got another funding coming through the state called Detroit Opportunity Zones. And guess what? They're not helping the financially distressed communities. They're going to give these new tax breaks to they're steering it already to the pockets of downtown and Midtown. So you got to really research and do your homework to find out if you got any help if you fall into, hardship. Because every time these so-called funds are supposed to come to your community, they're getting steered to the people that's already got money. So, that's just another fight that I think that we need to research and make sure that we get a heads up and how to, be able to take advantage of those programs that rich people get and the poor people get looked over and left out.
Now, hold on.
Like they're using the water weaponized to gentrify.
Now, let me run something else past you that's interesting, too, that you mentioned in terms about people needing help. Now, we all agree that we live in a capitalistic society. That's no question. And probably few of us, if any, would change it. We'd rather live in a capitalistic society than a communist society. We probably would rather live in a capitalistic society than a socialist society. Okay. So that debate isn't even there.
Okay.
But would you agree that in a capitalistic society, by its definition, you've got the rich, the middle, and the poor?
Mm-hmm.
So there's always going to be poor, disadvantaged people if you have a capitalistic society. And then that takes us all the way back to Martin Luther King. When he was assassinated, many people would argue that he wound up getting killed not because he was a civil rights leader, but he expanded his role into looking out for social and economic justice in that poor people's campaign. And even then, there were black folk who were like, oh, hey, hold up, you're going a little bit too far, you know. So can you, in order to have a middle class, you got to have somebody beneath them.
Okay.
So is it even realistic to say that you want to eliminate poverty?
Well, the way I see poverty, I see it as a man-made issue because somebody's getting rich at the expense of the poor. Because if you got resources that's steered to support and help the poor people, but yet it's constantly going into the coffers of the rich, then there again lies proof to me that this is why you where you at, because nothing is tripling down like it's supposed to.
But that's the way it's always been.
Robbery. You robbing the poor to keep your goats fed, and you got more than enough to feed. It's greed.
But that's the way it's always been. To go back to world history, remember when you
Okay.
had world history in the ninth grade, and they
Uh,
taught you about the Middle Ages over in England, and you had the poor people who were called serfs or peasants, and they
mm-hmm.
were tied to the land, and they were basically indentured servants or slaves, and they
Yeah,
were working
and
for.
that's exactly what it is. You're a debt slave. But it's those people that are running those deficits up is causing the rest of us to be the debt slave. We have earned our pensions, we have earned our Social Security, and what they turn around and tell you, we got a deficit, and it's legal for us to trump all over your Constitution and tax your Social Security, or there may not be any in the future for our children, or we can just eliminate, just take your pensions. So again, it's a man-made poverty. Is to me, it's a man-made criminal crime that's being done upon the people.
I
And
think,
they select who eats and who lives and who dies. That's what they decide.
and I think probably what we'll both agree on, and now
Okay.
that you said that,
Okay.
is there's nothing wrong with being rich. It's
No.
like the Bible says, the pursuit of it at the expense of everything else. Because if you remember, because what you reminded me of when you said pensions was the revenue sharing that was taken away under Engler, and that
Hello.
revenue sharing really helped cities be able to pay their bills and thrive as well. And
And not
most of the
only that,
people that lived in cities were middle class and lower middle class and even poor folk who lived there. So when you take away that funding, redistribute it back to the wealthy,
Hello.
then all you're doing is exacerbating the conditions of the
Yeah.
people down below.
Yeah,
So,
you robbing and causing poverty, and then you criminalize and demonize the people that's poor now, but you got their money in your pocket.
right.
Thank you for taking my call. I love you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Have a great afternoon. Bye-bye. This is Your Turn with Cliff Woodards here on Comcast 91, Digital TV 33. We're across all internet platforms as well. We're on the web at tv33whpr.com where you can watch live. We're on the Roku platform, or if you've got a mobile device, just head on over to your app store, search for whprnow.com, and download it to any of your mobile devices, be it a cell phone, tablet, or anything that you take with you. And you can watch us wherever you are. If you're sitting in the beauty salon, the barber shop, if you're in the mall, you're in the store, you can take us along with you wherever you may travel. 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. If you want to weigh in on today's discussion, we wound up talking about financial-related matters and going even all the way back to the recession and some time before that as well. That was an interesting discussion to have. We are also looking at the beginning of the show in terms of current things that are happening as it relates to the deaths of Stephon Clark and Mr. Vassell. I have to look at, I think it's Saheed. Let me check his first name again. It was very difficult. Saheed Vassell in New York, who was shot by New York police officers just last week. He was unarmed. Many who knew him say that he suffered from mental illness as well, and that he was pointing a pipe at officers who then pumped 10 bullets at him. Why are police officers so afraid of black men, black people? And I raise the proposition, could it be because we are perpetuating the wrong image ourselves in some of the music and videos that white America sees? Could we be part of our own demise? 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. Let's go back to the phone lines. Good afternoon. You're on the air. It's your turn with Cliff Woodards.
Good afternoon, bro. I was calling in regards to that Statue Park situation you just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
I can't help but raise the issue about the wrongdoing, whatever they claim that Bubba did. Only thing they have is him being in his grandparents' backyard, running around his grandparents' backyard. It's not against the law. They shot their brother down in cold blood. And here it is, we deem these police to be heroes for being out here doing their jobs.
Well, wait a minute. What about the part that he was running away from the police officers prior to him getting to the backyard?
Wouldn't you run if you got 15 guns at you?
Well, there wasn't any. Well, hang on. I don't think that I've read that the officers had their guns drawn at the time that he was running to the backyard.
Didn't they claim that they chased him?
Say that again?
Ain't that what they said? They chased him in his grandparents' backyard?
Okay, but I don't know if the guns were drawn at the time they were chasing him.
Okay, when you look at this, obviously you didn't look at the video from when the incident started. They claim that they chased him into his grandparents' backyard.
Yes, we both agree on that, but I can't say we both agree. Go ahead.
When they told him to stop and turn around, he was standing on a little lockbox in his grandparents' backyard.
Mm-hmm.
All right? And when he turned around, the officer claimed that he thought he had a gun, and they just opened fire. So do you think they did not have their guns drawn when they went in that backyard?
I don't know.
They didn't just whip them out. They didn't just whip them out right then and there, because if you look at the body cam image, it's going to show the officer already had his gun out when he ducked around the corner and started shooting. He hollered, gun, and started shooting. They shot that brother. They shot 20 times, and 8 of the 20 bullets hit this brother. We cannot sit up here and continuously allow society to be manipulated into believing that these police are heroes, because they are not. They're just as corrupt as the average citizen. Me personally, I know, because the police went in conspiracy and had my house taken, my cars taken, and everything else, because they went in conspiracy with someone who said that I allegedly broke into my own house, and they turned around and charged me with home invasion and whatever on my own house.
Mm-hmm.
This is a plot and a demise of the justice system, to where every black person in the United States is going to wind up with a prison number and be boycotted from the right to work, the right to own property, and anything else in this country. This is what we call social capitalism.
Okay. All right, thank you. Let me get to some more calls. My phone lines are lit up once again. Thank you for sharing your opinion today.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Good afternoon. You're on the air. It's your turn with Cliff Woodards. Caller. Caller, go ahead. I don't think you realize that you're on. Let me go to the next call. Good afternoon. You're on the air. It's your turn with Cliff Woodards.
Good afternoon, Cliff.
How are you?
Fine, and you?
Good.
I want to say we got, white police officers that feel they can do what they want to do when it comes to blacks. And we got too many black men that's marrying these white women. And, the white man is sick and tired of the black man marrying a white woman. And even though it's white women, most of the time they go up to black men. And it's just, they feel they do anything they want to do.
You're blaming this on interracial marriage?
To an extent, yes. Because we got too many black men that have the really has no respect for black women. And the white men, they see all that going on, how they treat the black woman. And so, anyway, what I can see is still they can do it anything they want to do when it comes to black people, period.
I could do a whole...
It has to do with this interracial marriages, yes, I feel.
Well,
because how many white men marry black women? You can count on your hand. And most time the black woman got some money. Just like the white woman, they married a black man. Average black man, they have money.
I have to look at the statistics for that, but I could have a whole show.
Yeah, but things just getting worse and worse.
I
The
can,
more the black man marrying a white woman, things getting worse and worse for black people.
I'm not, ma'am. I'm not gonna.
It's not getting worse for the ones that married a white woman, but it's getting worse for the other black men.
Ma'am, I'm not even gonna blame white police officers shooting black men because black men are marrying white women or white women are
Okay.
marrying black men. I think that's a
That's not
little
good.
bit far fetched. But I could actually maybe I'll have to invite the angels back and we could do another relationship show on whether or
Yeah.
not
And then you know, most of them they stay in the suburbs. That's why very seldom do they shoot and kill the black men that's married to white women. They always been in the suburbs. Know they got a lot of money and stuff.
Okay.
That's what I feel that's a part of it.
All right. Thank you
Okay,
so
thank you.
much. All right. Have a good day. Good afternoon. You're on the air. It's your turn with Cliff Woodards.
She's talking about genetics. Genetically, we will wipe them out. And nature has a way of wiping the predators out. They know it, but a lot of us don't know it. No, they don't want you mixing with their blood because that's how they're becoming fewer in numbers. There's no way that
that's
you would
not
be,
how they're becoming fewer in number. They're becoming fewer in number because they're simply not having that many kids.
And when they mix blood with your kind, they're not going to have any kids. That's genetically wiping them out, and they know it. You need to look that up and historically look up some hidden colors 1, 2, 3. They'll tell you all that, and one of the activists in there would explain that part of it. But there's no way that you're afraid of a black man or a black boy when you got your partners and all of y'all gunned up, and no doubt you got on what you call those things, bulletproof vests, and the list goes on.
Mm-hmm.
They're no more than plantation overseers going along with these criminal elites who profit from putting these people in prison. Either you got to go, it's like population control. You're no more good to us. If we can't enslave you and make money off of the prisons, we're going to get your what I call your organs, or you're going to be a slave, or you just go to your grave. They don't care. There's no way that they're afraid of all these black men, and young children are getting murdered and beat up by these cops. They're the new gang in town, which they always have been. I call them the plantation overseers on a mission, and they probably all getting bonuses every time they take one of us out.
Okay, I got. Hold on. I got 60 seconds. Hold on, I got 60 seconds. Let me ask you this question before I get off the air. Then why hasn't that happened in Detroit? Detroit is still the most blackest city in this country, and the racial makeup of Detroit police is now more white police officers than there are black. So why haven't we seen that here? Why isn't that plantation mentality here in Detroit? We seem to be doing okay.
It's very prevalent. It's very prevalent in Detroit. I see cops all the time, and all different agencies all different types of agencies are flooding the poor neighborhoods with cops coming to get these people for whatever they can find them on, whether it's the insurance, whether it's the drugs and the old weeds, and they're killing us economically. They're taking over the prime land. So, eventually the NICS will be in place, because once they criminalize and demonize after they've already caused you to be impoverished, then the rest of it all falls in place.
But I'm sure law-abiding...
I'm making a mistake.
I'm sure law-abiding citizens... Ma'am, I'm sure law-abiding citizens in those neighborhoods are happy to see police come in and get rid of criminals.
No, they're not. There's no problems with having the police come in. The problem is when you seem to come to our in our surroundings, it's not to serve and protect, but it's to inject fine fees and pick up a body.
Okay.
It's a whole different world, baby. They ain't trying to save us. They trying to further enslave us. If not the slave, it'll be the grave. Thank you for taking my call. Love you all.
All right, thank you. Listen, all y'all, you all need to remember, put it down, put it in your phone, tell Siri, tell Google to remind you that I'm on Saturdays at 1 o'clock. Because what happens is a lot of you think about it about 1:20. Oh, yeah, Cliff is on. Let me tune in. And I have to do almost a 20-minute monologue until you all finally sit down and, oh, yeah, let me watch Cliff and see what's going on. Make a note. Tune in at 1 o'clock every Saturday so you can be in on this discussion from the jump. My phone lines are always lit up that second half hour. We got to get them going that first half hour as well. That's about all the time that I have for Your Turn with Cliff Woodwards here this Saturday. I want to thank my producer, R.J. Watkins Jr. himself, as he does an outstanding job each and every Saturday, even when I'm not here, even though he swears up and down, and I can't blame him that he prefers the Angels sitting in when I'm not there, so he's never sad when I'm not here. Also got to thank R.J. Watkins Sr. as well. He gives me the opportunity to come before you each and every Saturday as well. I thank him for that. Your Turn with Cliff Woodwards is, as always, sponsored by the Detroit Law Center. Give them a call, 313-333-4975. That's it. I've got to get out of here. I'll see you back here next Saturday, same time, same place. As my grandmother used to say, if the good Lord is willing and the creek don't rise. RJ, that's a wrap.